welcome back to PDB and to my somewhat thorough review of my Looxi eyeshadows. I also have two highlighters to talk about. Now here is my collection. I have two highlighters. These top 7 shades I have had for quite a while at this point. I believe that I bought these in November and probably received them in December. And then these 11 on the bottom are relatively recent acquisitions. I've had these for about a month and a half at this point. For some information on Looxi, they are an American indie brand. I'm not exactly sure where they would list as their headquarters, but both of my packages have shipped out of Woodstock, Illinois, which is in suburban Chicago. Currently on their website, they are selling just eyeshadows. I purchased my 2 highlighters late last year, and they were discontinuing pretty much their entire range of products at that point. However, their website does say coming soon for face products, so it would not surprise me if they do reintroduce those elements to their line relatively quickly here. Right now they have 3 formulas of eyeshadow. They have a shimmer, a matte, which are pretty self-explanatory, and then their 3rd formula is their auroras. These are their special shades. They're more shifty, more shiny, and what they say characterizes an aurora is that it shifts between 2 or more colors actually, and I can't say that I see a huge difference between the shimmers and the auroras. Everything here is either a shimmer or an aurora, and while there are certain shades where I could at least take a good guess and tell you which formula I thought it was, I do not think I would be batting 1,000, you know? There are definitely some in here where I'm not sure if I have a shimmer or an aurora. However, I will include that information in my swatches. Now, as far as indie singles go, these are definitely on the lower priced end of things. You can get singles on their website for $2.50 or $3. I think that I spent $2.50 on most of these, and surprisingly, shipping is also quite reasonable. I did not reach their minimum free shipping threshold of $75 for US residents on either of my orders, but shipping only came out to $3.75, which I felt was totally reasonable. And speaking of my shipping experience, I found in both cases that I got my shipment in like 2 to 2.5 weeks, which I felt, again, was quite reasonable. My orders both processed on the lower end of the amount of processing time Looxi stated that it would take. They said it would take 7 to 10 business days, so up to 2 weeks of time just to process my order. And I think both of my orders had processed within a week to a week and a half, which is great. When the items actually arrived, they were packaged quite nicely. I actually remember thinking both times, you'd think I'd learn after the first one, but apparently not, that they must have forgotten some of my items because they came very compactly wrapped up. They actually came, there was like an inner box in each case that kind of resembled a box you might get like an individual cupcake in. It was pretty cute. And then inside they had wrapped up in tissue paper all of the individual single shadows within their little paper sleeves. So I was very pleased with Looxi's shipping. Luckily, I haven't had to reach out to customer service. I haven't had anything break. I haven't had any problems with things getting to me in a timely fashion, so I can't speak to that part of the experience, but we'll put that as a positive, really. So now let's get to my quick little review of the shadows themselves. I think these are overall quite nice eyeshadows. The best way to apply all of these I have found is over glitter glue. You don't necessarily need glitter glue. You will still get a good color payoff. You will still get a pretty look. But if you're looking for maximum shine, for maximum shift with the auroras, and the best longevity, a glitter primer is definitely the way to go. I've been using the NYX one. I don't think there's probably too much of a difference between glitter primers. And then I use my fingers to apply. I do that for most shadows, but I found that especially with these, I think the finger is the way to go, and I will just pat these over the glitter glue. When I have applied these shadows with a brush, let me get one out to show you. This is a really light blue shade. It's called Adonis. I think you can see the deep, almost gouge-like brush marks in this. I used an angled liner brush with this, and it just really cut into the product. I found that a lot of the eyeshadow flaked away when I tried to use a brush with it. I just felt like I was wasting a lot of product by using a brush. So if for your look you're looking to do some really small detail work, yes, these products will work for that purpose, but just know you are going to lose quite a bit of product likely. And I'll admit, little detail work is not how I tend to do my makeup. I much prefer something a little bit more blown out. Now, for comparison, the shade that I am wearing today is Foxy Lady, and I think this does a good job of illustrating the kind of shift that you are likely going to see. I mean, there is some shift here. I don't know how well it's going to come across on camera because, you know, try showing duochrome eyeshadows on camera sometime. It feels like it's just complete luck of the draw whether or not it wants to display its duochromeness on any particular day. But this is like a light, dusty lavender with a gold shift to it. And oh, I think you can actually see it. It's not crazy pronounced. This is not the kind of shift that almost looks like it's glowing from within. However, I think that actually makes it a lot more wearable. I mean, I can and have worn this to work, and it's been fine. I like the consistency of this. It feels not, you know, crazy, like buttery smooth as beauty gurus would describe it, but it's soft to the touch. It feels relatively smooth, and I feel like it applies beautifully. If the shade is still available, it's one that I would definitely recommend. Isn't that pretty? Just soft and glowy. Oh, and since we're talking about what I have on my eyes, I have Foxy Lady over my entire lid, and then I have just a little bit of Sweet Tooth, which is this white pink. I feel like more of the pink shows up when you actually apply it. I just stuck a little bit of that in my inner corner with my pinky because I wasn't going to waste like 10% of the product to get this on a brush. And just in general, my suggestion with these Looxi shimmers and auroras would be to get shades that you would be interested in wearing as lid shades. They're not super easy to pick up with a liner brush, so if that's your goal, I mean, you can do it, but I think there are probably other formulas that might work a little bit better for you. And they also work well as inner corner, but if you like to apply your inner corner shade with a brush, again, might not be the best choice. recommend shades that I have here. Like I said earlier, Foxy Lady is definitely one of them. Another one that's sort of in a similar neutral-y kind of color scheme is Laced, which is this beautiful brown. Isn't that stunning? It looks almost wet. And then my other more neutral recommendation would be Mint Chip. This is a silvery mint shade with a little bit of a pink flash to it. So there are my 3 neutral recommendations. If I were to recommend more colorful shades, I would go with this bright green, which is Apollo. The shade Noir, which is this really deep blue purple shade. And then, ooh, choosing number 3 is hard. I think my other choice would be this yellow, which is Lick It, Slam It, Suck It. I actually did a look with, I think, these 3 shades a few days ago that turned out really beautiful. I will see if I can find a picture, but it turned out beautifully. I just used the yellow in the inner corner, the green on the center of the lid, and then this blue in the outer corner. It made this lovely gradient from yellow to blue. It looked kind of tie-dye, very summery and fun. I really enjoyed it. While these 6 shades are definitely the ones from my stash that I would most strongly recommend, that's largely just a matter of color preference. I haven't encountered any big formula differences between individual shades. I feel like they all perform pretty comparably. And since we're here, let's also talk about the highlights. I have 2. I have the shade Stiletto, which I feel like you cannot tell the color on these highlights at all unless you swatch them. This has almost a green gold reflect to it. But I feel like it's almost coming off as like a pinky shade on camera, which is interesting. I don't feel like I really see that color in person. I've worn both of these several times, and I can't say that I've ever seen that color on myself. And then the other shade that I have is White Noise, which probably should have grabbed a makeup wipe before I sat down to film this video. But you know, hindsight. This one is definitely more on the white side, and it has a little bit of a pinky silver golden sheen to it. This is what I would think of as like a really accurate kind of pearl shade. Quite pretty. My complaint with both of these, oh, I'm not actually wearing one today. That's why I got out my highlighter brush. I was thinking ahead when I sat down to film this video. So let's apply some and you can see. They are definitely on the blingy side. They are also on the glittery side. That's not a problem for me. I like glitter. I don't have a ridiculous amount of texture on my cheeks yet. And though I don't think you will be able to see it on camera, in person you can definitely pick up on the glitter. I find that if I go over them with some setting spray, that can help a little bit. It gets rid of any powderiness there is, these can be just a tiny bit on the powdery side, which I don't think would be really a problem for these highlighters, except for the fact that they have that glitter in them. I think the glitter sort of brings out that little bit of powderiness and makes it more evident on the skin. With a little bit of setting spray, I don't see the powderiness anymore. I still do see the glitter, but what are you gonna do? These also hard pan like crazy. I think you can sort of see it in the photo. I do, you know, make videos. I swatch my makeup. I will apply these to my inner corner with my finger, and there's definite hard pan in especially White Noise, probably because that's the one I've used more often. And I think that's kind of a bummer. So there's my quick little review of my Looxi shadows and highlighters. If you have any questions or would like clarification on any points I've made, please feel free to ask. I don't know that I'll be able to answer, but I'm willing to try. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video was helpful and or interesting. If it was, please consider liking and subscribing. You might enjoy it around here. And I hope that I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!